Now, I'm giving you a fair warning before we kick off this rodeo and throwing a disclaimer out there that this is going to be a controversial video. I'm talking if you're an overly sensitive hardcore horror fanatic or just a disturbed lover of all things Godzilla who blocks out unfavorable bits of his cinematic history, then you may want to close this video right now. Well, go on, make up your mind. I'll wait. Still there? Good to know you have such an open mind. Well, howdy there, Scream Freaks. We all remember the 1998 bomb that was America's take on Godzilla as brought to us by the guys who made the more successful Independence Day. I mean, after all, how can we forget? From Godzilla's parent company, Toho, to their fans of Rubber Suit Rumbles, most everyone slammed this film for two big reasons. The monster didn't look enough like Godzilla, and it didn't take on America like a true king of city-stomping monster flicks. Toho was so ashamed of America's version, they went so far as to strip the monster of its God title, dismiss the movie in future storylines saying America had mistaken the monster for Godzilla, and later had the real G-Man fucking blow the imposter's ass up in a fight that lasts 30 seconds. Except no imitations. But before Zilla had his butt whipped in Final Wars for the mess it left in '98, there was some good that came from his commercial disaster. In the wake of his deafening blow to theaters worldwide, an animated series based on this false god began broadcasting on the Fox Kids network, picking right up where the movie left off. We're talking an old yeller-stricken Nick Tatopoulos, his reporter girlfriend with her cameraman, the U.S. Army in New York City, all hanging out on the bridge with a dead and rotting Zilla. For a story that was so poorly received on the silver screen, you wouldn't expect a Saturday morning cartoon spin-off of the same content to do any better, but miracles do happen. Matthew Broderick's character Nick goes looking for the egg Zilla left at the end of the movie and comes across one that survived as his hatching. By sheer luck, Nick's covered in Zilla afterbirth, and the baby Zilla imprints him as his mama. Nick tries to protect Zilla Jr. for scientific research, but he grows faster than a mutant weed and draws unwanted global attention that has the army running to be stomped on again. It takes tricky convincing, but Nick proves Jr. isn't going to go on a monster march like his birth mama, and shows he has reasonable control over him like some twisted version of Clifford the Big Red Dog and his owner. Nick's unplanned parenthood then turns into a full-time government job, and he forms a team of monster babysitters called Heat, who monitor Jr. for the safety of the world. First on the roster are the same two scientists who helped Nick in the movie, behavioral analyst Elsie, and Craven, the team's engineer and chemist. The other half of the team was originally created for the series and are a slacker crack hacker intern named Hernandez, and Monique, a badass French agent sent by Jean Reno's Godzilla character to keep tabs on Jr. on behalf of the French government. Of course, this would be a boring series if it were all about housebreaking a supposed king of the monsters, so another part of Heat's job is to investigate other giant monster phenomena around the world, exploiting Jr.'s protective instinct for Nick to battle every critter the size of a building threatening life as we know it. I gotta say, for a 2-season run, the show definitely gave the viewers their fill of monsters, and that's just how we want it. While we get some critters loosely based on more generic Godzilla heavies, we unfortunately never get the more iconic baddies for Jr. to go toe-to-toe with. The closest we come is when aliens rebuild Jr.'s mama as a killer cyborg, which is similar to a Mecha Godzilla plot, and 6 are on Jr. in an effort to rule the world. So this show must not have the rights to the Toho line of uglies for Jr. to breathe on, but if you fans won't accept him as the G-Man himself to begin with, then that shouldn't even matter. Regardless, there's still plenty of mutant mayhem invented for the guy to blast his atomic fresh breath. While most of the baddies are giant ugly insects or critters, there are some interesting challenges brought in from time to time. We see Jr. tumble with aliens, robots, ugly-ass doppelgangers, magical sentries, and even love. I'm not fucking kidding here. There is a whole episode where Jr. falls in love with a mutant Komodo dragon and is duped into protecting his egg from a twisted turtle that looks like a mix between Gamera and this other guy. Speaking of creatures legally spun off popular properties, there were plenty of subtle references made to other favorite movie monsters throughout the series. You've got beastly contenders possibly echoing cinematic creatures like Mecha Kong, the giant Gila monster, and then there's the cryptozoic superstars like the Yeti and Loch Ness Monster wanting a piece of Jr. But as hard as they may try, not every monster can be a winner. Sometimes you get these sillier critters like giant hummingbirds and killer tornado shrews? Well, Nick shouldn't have no problem taking out something as out of left field as that, given he's voiced by Ian Ziering of Sharknado fame. Yes, sir, they couldn't pay Matthew Broderick Lion King money to reprise his character in the cartoon series, but had just enough to snag Mr. 90210 himself, who actually has a long history of voicing cartoons and does an excellent job alongside other actors who faithfully made the jump from the big screen to Saturday morning idiot boxes. At least 3 of the original actors thought it was worth their while to stick with the franchise and see where it went, and I hope they were as pleasantly surprised as I was. And And while we're on the topic of actors lent their voices to the series, you Screen Freaks might be surprised to learn that your favorite head-spinning siren, Linda Blair, played a villain to Godzilla. Linda portrayed Alexander Springer, the leader of the eco-terrorist group Scale, who believes mutations are the next stage of evolution and are gung-ho to set free all the mutants on Monster Island, which is where the military relocates the losers from Junior's battles for scientific studies. Now, this was a funny character for Linda, given that she's an actual animal rights activist in real life. And if that's not a big enough wow for you, did you know Frank Welker, the uncredited voice of your whole childhood, performed the vocals for Zilla in the movie, which were more than likely recycled for Junior in the series? What the fuck? You think I'm lying, but look at this IMDb page and the Wikizilla website. What direction did he get the sound booth for that gig? So somewhere in all this is the guy who voiced Megatron. Oh, I think I almost heard Slimer in that one. No, strain a little bit harder. Listen for it, Screen Freaks. Okay, I definitely heard Scooby-Doo in that one for sure. Godzilla the series was a top-notch show with superb art, impeccable storytelling, animated by the same company that brought us some of my favorite shows like Men in Black, Extreme Ghostbusters, Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot, and the Jackie Chan Adventures. Godzilla has easily become one of my all-time favorite cartoons. The art shows meticulous attention to details without overdoing it, characters have realistic renderings but with a toony edge, and everything is painted in beautifully vivid colors. While the show mainly serves to sell hunks of noise, making plastic to youngins, it was written with a sophistication I dare say was equal to most adult sci-fi shows. Seriously, this was basically an adult show whose monster bashing budget could only be achieved through animation. Most every episode had the same 2-round monster bout formula, but it always seemed fresh thanks to fully developed characters who were engaging and kept things interesting. Aside from monster baddies, you had human villains complicating things to the Heat team as well, such as an evil technology mogul trying to control Junior, crazy hunters wanting to poach Junior, critter beating circuses, and even gamblers. The stories also worked because there was plenty to offer among the differing personalities of the Heat team. You had humor with Hernandez's slacker habits conflicting with Kraven's uptight nature, Monique brought mystery into the mix with her secret agent background, and romance was peppered throughout the show with Nick and his reporter girlfriend always in flux due to the nature of their careers. The best was a running gag that never gets old when Kraven's field robot Nigel keeps being sent out in these situations too dangerous for people, and normally ends up with him always being trashed with the same scream. So, Nigel was popular enough that he was going to have 2 action figures made of him. And I stress the word was because after the movie licensed Godzilla toys flopped in toy stores and overflowed the clearance aisles, toys for the cartoon series were dropped before they could even see a youngin' sandbox. The toy line would have included a SWAT team looking Nick and Hernandez, a version of 2 or Nigel, Junior of course, and a handful of beasts for him to bash. An unknown number of prototypes for this canceled line luckily survived, and most are surely collecting dust in a die-hard fan's museum of plastic, fortified against a collectible's greatest enemy, the youngin'. To wrap this review up, I highly recommend Godzilla the series to anyone who's a fan of giant monsters, parents looking for something they can enjoy watching with their youngins, and the loose Godzilla fans. For you stern Godzilla fans who find the show an abomination given its link to the movie you shall not name or acknowledge and can't bring yourself to watch it based on principle, well then that's cool. You can stick with your legit Godzilla cartoons. I'll see you later, Screen Freaks. Well, howdy there, Scream Freaks. Well, thank you kindly for watching, and help yourself to more servings of Screaming Soup by visiting our site at screamingsoup.com. You can read our weekly updates, character bios, and interviews, catch up on past episodes, browse our store, and drool over the Howlin' Hottie of the Week. If you want to scream at us, just holler at screamingsoup@gmail.com, and don't forget to stalk us through social media, conveniently linked at the top of the site.